Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Noctiluca scintillans, also known as sea sparkle, coming to tell you why you should date me. Um, so the first thing that I should really get off my chest is that I'm a little bit of a catfish. I'm really pretty far away and in the dark, but once you get closer and then the lights come on, I'm a little bit more scary. So we'll just jump right into it. So this is my best selfie. Obviously, it's going to be that first page, just so that I catch your eye and get the right swipe. But this is me essentially in water as I've been pushed onto shore, and that mechanical disturbance is going to trigger me to set off a bioluminescent reaction. So I light up whenever I get jostled around, and essentially that's so that if a predator comes for me, hopefully that by me lighting up, I'll either scare him away or his predator will see him and come for him. So hopefully that will help me survive. The second picture that I have here is in the daytime. Again, really far away, so I'm kind of pretty. Nothing too wrong here, but essentially this is what you would consider a bloom. So these are kind of normally considered put with algae blooms, but this is a dinoflagellate bloom because I'm a dinoflagellate. I'm an alveolate. So it's a common misconception, but I'll forgive you if you make that mistake. So this gets into some of the economic and ecological importances and roles that I play here, because whenever I come in and I have these blooms, a lot of times what happens is I kill off a lot of fish, not necessarily because of a toxin that I have, but sometimes some of the organisms that I carry along with me can produce toxins, or I just chew up all the nutrients and all the oxygen, and then all the fish are just kind of left with nothing left, so they die off. And then that kind of goes into the economic importance, because if people are trying to fish for these fish and they can't catch them because they're all dead or they're all poisoned, then obviously that's going to have an economic impact. And then also if humans eat some of these fish that have some of these toxins in them that I've kind of brought with me, then they can get really sick, and then that will also have an impact as well. So here's the selfie. Want to go through some of my distinguishing characteristics here. I'm not like other dinoflagellates. I typically don't have, or I don't have the armor that you would see with the cellulose plates that other dinoflagellates have. I do have an outer covering though, that you can see here. And then also I have, it's a bit harder to see here, but I have some alveoli, which are just little membrane-bound sacs up under that membrane, and then I also have a membrane under that. I also have a tentacle, so this is primarily what I use to get my food. And then also a nucleus that you can see here, which is the dark color. A few other things that are a bit harder to see, but very present and very important, there's a groove right here, and we're going to see that on the next slide. And then I also have a flagella as well. So as I mentioned, you can kind of see I'm shaped a little bit like a peach, but here's the nucleus that I was talking about, and here's the tentacle, and then the flagella is up under here as well. So if we go on a date, I hope you don't mind my tentacle, because I'm going to have to use it to get the food to my mouth. So essentially, my feeding mechanism is typically going to be, I'm typically a heterotroph, or I am a heterotroph, but I reach out, grab these organic materials or molecules. It could be detritus diatoms, pods, things like that. I've listed some examples of what I really like to eat here at the bottom. But I pull that into my phagocytic opening or cavity to be ingested, and then after I ingest that, I send some digestive enzymes over there to then digest it, and then I'm fat and happy and ready to go. Like I mentioned before, I'm sometimes a heterotroph, but well, I guess I'm always a heterotroph actually, but I do sometimes have a symbiotic relationship with these organic or small organisms called prasinophytes. They are photosynthetic, and so sometimes whenever I can't find food for myself, then I do have these inside of my body, and if I've engulfed them and I do have that symbiotic relationship, then I'm able to kind of feed off some of the molecules that they make through photosynthesis. So if you date me, one thing is I can make my own food, and maybe I'll share with you. I'm a big traveler. I really like to go all over the place, pretty much as long as the waters are within a certain temperature, like 10, 25 degrees is usually okay. Sometimes I'm a little bit more picky if I do have these percentophytes inside of me working to make some food. But as long as it's temperate or subtropical waters, usually coastal, then I'm good to go. That's pretty much where I want to go. And on all these circles up here, you can see some of the places that I like to stay, as well as down here. So reproduction and life cycle. I can produce sexually or asexually through binary fission. My preference would obviously be binary fission. It's a lot more efficient and it's a lot quicker. And it's a pretty one-for-one copy. If my conditions are troubling and I need to try to produce some different alleles for some genetic variation here to adapt and overcome my environment, then I can do that as well through sexual reproduction. One thing to note here is that with sexual reproduction, I produce isogametes. They're genderless. And then these isogametes go on to fuse, form a zygote, and then eventually form into the diploid adult. The gametes are haploid. And then that is really the only stage within my life cycle that I have haploid. So I hope you've enjoyed getting to know me, and I'll look forward to getting that right swipe. Thanks.